Hey, friend, Pastor Stephen here. And I don't know if you've heard the good news or not, but this Sunday, June the 7th, will be our first Sunday back to worship together. And I'm just so excited about that. You know, it reminds me of a verse of scripture in Psalm 133, verse 1. He says, "Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." And that's so important to think about. We are called to dwell together. We're called to be together and come together. And I know we haven't been able to do that for a while, and rightly so, but I'm so excited that we can now come back together and worship together. But then it says in unity. And I believe it's important for us to understand that unity doesn't mean that everybody thinks alike. There's going to be different opinions. There's going to be different comfort levels of us coming back together. And so in light of that, I want us to be aware of a couple of things. Number one, if you are sick in any way or have any symptoms, we encourage you to stay at home. Number two, if you are someone that has a condition that would make you very vulnerable, you might want to consider staying home. And then number three, if you're just not comfortable, if you feel like you're not ready, please know that it's okay to stay home, and you're not going to be judged for that. But I do want to let you know some things that the church is going to be doing, some guidelines that we'll set up. And so here's number one. For this time period, we will not have children's church or nursery. And so we'll keep you informed on when that changes. Number two, we're going to ask all families to sit together if you can, and just be aware of social distancing. Our sanctuary should be large enough to accommodate that. And then number three, there'll be no specific greeting time during the service where we ask everybody to turn and shake hands and hug and that kind of thing. Obviously, you can do that on your own if you or the other person feels comfortable doing that, but there'll be no specific time for that in this service. And then there'll be no passing of an offering plate. As we normally do, there'll be a box in the back that you can give an offering to and tithe and that kind of thing. Then also, number five, there'll be no coffee table set up. And then we may even consider dismissing in sections as we close the service. So with that, those are some things that the church, some guidelines that we'll be a part of. But now we want to ask everybody to be very sensitive to a couple of things, knowing that we're all adults and God has given us the ability to, to make our own decisions. But I think in the spirit of keeping unity and loving everybody is that we want to be sensitive to, number one, just a contact greeting. You may be somebody that's very comfortable coming up to somebody, shaking their hand and hugging them. However, if it's somebody that you know and they're comfortable with that may be fine. But especially somebody that may be visiting or somebody that you don't know, we would ask that you hold off on that. And then just social distancing in general. You may be very comfortable just being up close to somebody, but be sensitive to someone else may not be. Then number three, as it relates to wearing masks. If you are someone that feels like wearing masks are unnecessary, or some may even think that they're silly, just know that someone else may feel like this is very important for them. They may even have a situation at home that we're not aware of that really makes it necessary. So let's just remember that we don't want to judge anybody that's wearing a mask, and we don't want to judge anyone that decides not to wear a mask. So let's come together this Sunday, just love each other, support each other, be unified, and just worship together. And let me just say, as I try to say so often, thank you so much for giving to the Lord and making this happen. Even during the pandemic time, we've had to rent the schools to do the recordings and all the other things, ministry expenses that we have. And so it's so important that we continue to give to the Lord. So thank you so much for doing that. Remember, we're going to continue Facebook Live every Sunday that you can participate in as well if you don't come to the service yourself. But also keep praying that God will use our church, use all of us as believers to touch more and more people. And let's just keep praying for our country. As we all know, there's so much unrest, so much turmoil right now. And we just pray that God's Spirit will move in just an incredible way. So God bless you.